Look at America today. Homeowner associations act like secret police over your lawn. Paper-thin drywall houses rot in 5 years, and your monthly mortgage payment keeps you trapped in a corporate cage. They call this the American dream. Do not be a fool. The real American dream is hiding in the corners of this country they want you to forget. Places with zero homeowner associations, no mandatory aesthetics, and houses built with real brick and old-growth timber, not glued together particle board. Today we are not talking about trendy cities or overpriced coastal traps. We are going to 10 towns that still operate like it is 1960, under $9,000. You can still buy a literal fortress. Let us break down the assets, the repairs, and the gritty reality. Number 10. Salem, Ohio. Let us start in the Rust Belt. In 2026, the media tells you these towns are dead. But here is the twist. While the Sun Belt is drowning in insurance crises and $5,000 vinyl boxes, Salem is sitting on the most durable residential architecture in American history. Explain to me how a cardboard house in California costs $1 million, but a brick bunker in Ohio is $85,000. We are talking about the 1950s solid brick ranch. This is your boomer bunker. The population is around 11,000. It is quiet, it is gray, and it is built like a tank. Let us do the numbers. You are dealing with 3-inch thick exterior masonry. These foundations do not shift in the wind like modern slab-on-grade disasters, but it is not a utopia. You have to inspect the perimeter. Look for horizontal cracks in the block. That is hydrostatic pressure. If you see white powdery mineral deposits on the interior basement walls, you have efflorescence. It means water is pushing through the earth. Do not panic and do not call a $1,000 contractor. You budget $3,000. You rent a mini excavator. You dig out the exterior trench yourself. You drop in perforated Schedule 40 PVC pipe, wrap it in commercial-grade geotextile fabric, and backfill it with washed stone. Once you do that, that house will outlive your grandchildren. What is the catch? The local economy is entirely blue-collar and industrial. You are not going to find a vegan bakery or a co-working space, but you will find property taxes under $1,000 a year. The local zoning board does not care if you park a tractor in your driveway or build a ham radio tower. You are buying structural integrity and total anonymity. Number 9. Johnstown, Pennsylvania. In 1889, Johnstown was nearly wiped off the map by a massive flood, but the town refused to die. Today it sits nestled in a deep Appalachian valley, offering some of the most ridiculous real estate discounts in the country. It is like a post-apocalyptic movie set where everyone just kept going to work. The population is shrinking, but the housing stock is practically indestructible. You can easily find a massive 3-story colonial or a heavy brick 4-square for under $7,000. Here is the asset breakdown. You are buying into original cast iron heating systems. Modern buyers are terrified of old radiators. That is exactly why the prices are low. Do not be intimidated by a little rust on the iron. That metal outlasts modern forced air ductwork by a century. If the boiler in the basement looks like a relic from the Titanic, expect it to fail. A modern high-efficiency boiler replacement will set you back about $6,000. But once it is installed, your heating bill drops to pennies, and the radiant heat is far superior to a cheap heat pump that will freeze up when the temperature hits 0. You also need to inspect the roof flashing around the chimney. If it is original copper or lead, leave it alone. If the previous owner patched it with cheap aluminum roofing caulk, plan to spend $1,200 to have a local roofer tear it off and install proper step flashing. Johnstown is gritty. The winters are brutal and gray. The roads are steep, but the cost of living is so low that you can effectively retire 15 years early if you buy here in cash. You trade the sunshine for a debt-free fortress. Number 8. Clarksburg, West Virginia. Clarksburg is the ultimate irony. It is home to a massive FBI criminal justice facility. Yet it is one of the most unregulated, off-grid friendly towns in the Appalachian Mountains. The population is just over 15,000. You are living off-grid while the largest biometric database on Earth is sitting on the hill. It makes no sense, which means it is perfect for us. We are looking for post-World War II builds. These houses are framed with old-growth hardwoods. Try driving a nail into a 1940s oak joist. It will literally bend your hammer. Prices here sit right around $75,000. But you have to be forensic with your inspection. If the house has been vacant, you need to crawl under the subfloor. Look at the plumbing stacks. If you see gray plastic pipes, you are looking at polybutylene. It was a cheap alternative used decades ago, and it is a ticking time bomb for leaks. If you see it, you must negotiate the price down and immediately factor in $4,500 to repipe the entire house with PEX tubing. Do not skip this step, or you will wake up to a flooded kitchen. Once the plumbing is bulletproof, you have an asset that cannot be matched. Want to install a 10-kilowatt solar array in your backyard? Go ahead. Want to harvest rainwater in 500-gallon cisterns? Nobody is coming to find you. Clarksburg gives you the infrastructure of a small city with the legal freedom of the Wild West. Number 7. Anniston, Alabama. If you want to escape the snow but you refuse to pay Florida prices, welcome to Calhoun County. Anniston is a former military and industrial hub. The population is about 21,000. The median rent is irrelevant because you are going to buy a property in cash for $85,000. This town does not do aesthetic, it does utility. The specific survival asset we are hunting for here is the residential property, with an existing red iron steel workshop. In the South, outbuildings are everything. A red iron structure is a permanent industrial-grade bunker. It is where you weld, where you store your supplies, and where you run a side business without the homeowner association sending you a cease and desist letter. But you must inspect the metal. Look at the roof of the shed. If the galvanization is fading and surface rust is setting in, you need to act fast. A $500 bucket of industrial-grade rust inhibitor paint, applied with a heavy nap roller, will buy that building another 20 years of life. The soil in Anniston is heavy red clay. It expands when it rains and shrinks when it dries. You will see doors that stick or do not close perfectly. Do not instantly assume the foundation has failed. Often it is just the clay heaving. But if you see stair-step cracks in the exterior brick that are wider than 1/4 of an inch, you walk away. Let someone else fix that nightmare. The reality of Anniston is humidity and isolation. The summers are intensely hot, but if you want a piece of unregulated land where you can build a self-sustaining compound, this is the cheapest dirt in the South. Number 6. Ashland, Kentucky. Ashland sits right on the Ohio River. What happens when a steel town stops making steel? It starts making survivors. The median age is older, the pace is slow, and the assets are rock solid. You are looking for a 1960s brick rancher with a full unfinished basement. These are listed all day long for under $9,000. The brick is your armor, but the basement is your vulnerability. The main issue in Ashland is the sewer infrastructure. Many of these older properties on the outskirts are on original septic systems. If that tank has been in the ground for 40 years, you have to assume the leach field is failing. When you buy, you immediately set aside $8,000 for a complete septic replacement. Do not view this as a loss. View it as buying your independence. Once you put a new system in, you are completely disconnected from the municipal sewer grid. You are invisible. The next massive repair is the electrical panel. Check the basement. If you see a Federal Pacific or a Zinsco breaker box, it is a literal fire hazard. They are notorious for failing to trip during a surge. You will spend $1,500 to have a licensed electrician upgrade you to a modern 200-amp square D panel. After that, the house is locked down. Why live here? Because nobody cares what you do. The modern American suburb is a game of status and compliance. Ashland is a game of survival and quiet dignity. You chop your wood, you fix your own truck, and you own your life. You are trading convenience for absolute sovereignty. Number 5. Beatrice, Nebraska. Let us talk about the middle of nowhere. Coastal elites call this flyover country. They laugh at it from 3,000 feet while they fly from one overpriced tech hub to another. But when the economy fractures, you cannot eat an app, and you cannot shelter inside a stock portfolio. Beatrice is the seat of Gage County. It is an agricultural fortress. The population is around 12,000. It is surrounded by thousands of acres of corn, soybeans, and absolute silence. The survival asset here is the 1920s brick bungalow. We are not talking about brick veneer glued to the side of a plywood box. We are talking about double-wythe structural masonry. 2 layers of solid brick interlocking with each other. When a 60-mile-per-hour plain state wind hits a modern suburban house, the drywall cracks and the framing groans. When that wind hits a 1920s Beatrice bungalow, you do not even hear it. You can acquire one of these structures for $95,000. But you must become a student of historical masonry. These houses sit on poured concrete and brick footings that have endured 100 years of freeze and thaw cycles. You need to put on a headlamp, crawl into that basement, and inspect the mortar joints. If you can scrape the mortar out with a car key, it has turned to sand. Do not hire a contractor who wants to use modern Portland cement to fix it. Modern cement is too hard. It will trap moisture and literally shatter the historic brick during the next freeze. You must tuck point it yourself using Type N mortar. You buy a 5-inch angle grinder with a diamond tuck pointing blade. You grind out the decaying joints to a depth of 1 inch. You mix your Type N mortar so it is thick like peanut butter, and you pack it in with a tuck pointing trowel. It will cost you $300 in materials and 2 weeks of agonizing shoulder pain. But when you finish, you have reinforced a fortress that will stand for another century. You will also need to hunt for knob and tube wiring. If you find those old ceramic knobs in the attic rafters, rip it all out. Budget $5,000 to pull fresh 12-gauge Romex wire to every outlet and upgrade the service to a 200-amp panel. Do this, and you hold a completely autonomous asset in a town that produces its own food and minds its own business. Number 4. Moberly, Missouri. They call Moberly the Magic City because it sprang up overnight around the railroad in the 1800s. The magic is long gone. What is left is a blue-collar, hyper-pragmatic town where the housing market simply forgot to inflate. The population is 13,000. You are not fighting hedge funds or corporate landlords here. You are looking at post-war infill homes built between 1945 and 1960. These houses are small, usually 800 to 1,000 square feet. That is not a flaw. That is a tactical advantage. A small footprint means you spend almost nothing to heat it in the winter and cool it in the summer. It means less roof to replace and less siding to paint. You can buy a clean, structurally sound house here for $65,000. That is the price of a mid-tier pickup truck. You can literally trade a depreciating vehicle for a permanent piece of the earth. But you have to know how to diagnose floor sag. Many of these homes are built on pier and beam foundations over a dirt crawl space. Over 70 years, the center support piers will settle into the Missouri clay. You will walk into the living room and feel like you are rolling downhill. Most buyers run away terrified. You should smile and offer $1,000 under the asking price. Fixing this does not require a structural engineering degree. It requires a 20-ton hydraulic bottle jack, some 4x4 treated lumber, and adjustable steel lally columns. You crawl under the house. You set the jack on a wide steel plate. You slowly raise the sagging main beam. And I mean slowly. You turn that jack 1/4 of an inch every 24 hours. If you push it up all at once, you will shatter the plaster walls in the living room and snap the plumbing lines. Once it is level, you lock the steel lally columns in place. Total material cost is under $500. You just forced $15,000 of equity into the house using your own hands. The building department in Moberly is practically non-existent for interior renovations. Nobody is asking for your permits. Nobody cares if your grass is exactly 2 inches high. You are moving here to disappear into a quiet, unregulated, debt-free existence. Number 3. Ottumwa, Iowa. Ottumwa is a town the modern economy left behind, and we should thank them for it. Located along the Des Moines River, it is an old manufacturing and meatpacking town. The population is roughly 25,000. It has the infrastructure of a small city, but the real estate prices of a ghost town. The asset you are hunting for here is the heavy brick 2-story home, with a steep pitched roof and a massive unfinished attic. That attic is your expansion zone. You do not need to take out a $5,000 home equity loan to build an addition. You just frame out the attic yourself using 2x6 lumber and R19 fiberglass insulation. But there is a massive trap hiding in Ottumwa, and it is the river. Water is the ultimate destroyer of real estate. Do not trust the real estate agent when they say the basement only gets a little damp. You must go to the county website and pull the Federal Emergency Management Agency flood maps. Look at the base flood elevation. If the house sits in the 100-year floodplain, you walk away immediately. It does not matter if the house is $4,000. The government-subsidized flood insurance will bleed you dry, and eventually, the river will take the house. You only buy on the high ground. Once you secure a property on the hills overlooking the river, you have a bulletproof asset. Pay close attention to the roof ventilation. Many of these older homes have zero airflow under the roof deck. When you heat the house in the winter, the heat rises, melts the snow on the roof, and the water runs down to the gutters where it freezes into massive ice dams. Those ice dams will rip the gutters off the house and force water straight into your plaster walls. You must install continuous soffit vents and a ridge vent. It forces cold air to wash under the roof deck and keeps the surface freezing. It is a $1,500 material fix that will save you $2,000 in water damage. Ottumwa offers you cheap, reliable baseload power. You are not paying premium California prices to subsidize a failing green grid. You are paying for a light switch that actually works when you flip it. Number 2. Ironwood, Michigan. Welcome to the edge of the world. Ironwood sits in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, right on the Wisconsin border. This is where you go when you are absolutely finished with the American experiment. The population is just over 5,000. The isolation here is profound, and that isolation is your ultimate security perimeter. When the global supply chain hits a bottleneck, Ironwood barely notices. The town operates on a localized loop of survival. The asset here is the miner house. These homes were built in the early 1900s to house the men who pulled iron ore out of the earth. They are stark, simple, and built to withstand 10 feet of snow every single winter. You can buy a 3-bedroom home here for $60,000, but you cannot survive here if you are lazy. The snow load on these roofs is terrifying. You must climb into the attic and inspect every single roof rafter. If you see even a fraction of an inch of bowing in the wood, you have a structural emergency. The weight of the snow will eventually snap that 100-year-old lumber. You must sister the rafters. You buy premium 2x8 lumber. You coat it in heavy-duty construction adhesive, clamp it directly to the old rafter, and bolt them together using half-inch galvanized carriage bolts. You do this to every single rafter in the house. It will cost you $3,000 in wood and steel, but it guarantees the roof will not crush you in your sleep. You also need to abandon the idea of relying solely on natural gas. You need a secondary heat source. You must install a cast iron wood-burning stove, and not just for aesthetics. You will rely on it. You have to inspect the masonry chimney for creosote buildup. Creosote is highly flammable tar that sticks to the flue. If you do not run a chimney sweep brush down that flue every single season, you will start a chimney fire that burns at 2,000 degrees and destroys the house. Ironwood demands physical labor. You will chop wood. You will shovel snow until your back gives out. You will maintain your own driveway, but in exchange there is no homeowner association, no traffic, and no corporate surveillance. You own the dirt, you own the house, and you own your future. Number 1. Galesburg, Illinois. This is the final stronghold. Galesburg is a major logistical hub for the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railway. Why does that matter? Because towns built on logistics survive. Towns built on tourism or speculative tech bubbles collapse. Trains have to roll, freight has to move, and Galesburg is sitting right in the middle of the continental supply chain. The population is 3,000. It is big enough to have a fully functioning hospital and heavy hardware stores, but cheap enough to let you escape the rat race. You are hunting for the classic turn-of-the-century Craftsman bungalow. These houses feature massive covered front porches, solid oak interior trim, and original hardwood floors hidden under hideous 1980s carpets. You can buy one of these historical fortresses for $75,000. The defining feature of these homes is the plaster and liability walls. Modern flippers will tell you to smash the plaster with a sledgehammer, throw it in a dumpster, and hang cheap drywall. Do not listen to them. Plaster is vastly superior. It is naturally fire-resistant. It dampens sound so you do not hear every footstep in the house, and it provides incredible thermal mass to keep the house cool in the summer. But plaster cracks over time as the house settles. To fix it, you do not tear it down. You buy a bucket of plaster washers. These are small perforated metal discs. You screw them directly into the wooden lath behind the plaster to pull the wall tight again. Then you cover the crack with self-adhesive fiberglass mesh tape, and you float it out with setting-type joint compound. Not the cheap pre-mixed mud in a bucket. You use the powder that you mix with water because it cures hard like concrete. It takes patience. It takes skill. But you are preserving a wall system that no modern builder could afford to replicate today. Property taxes in Illinois are high. That is the one major negative. But in Galesburg, the assessed values of these homes are so incredibly low that your actual tax bill remains manageable. You are paying a slight premium for actual infrastructure, roads that get plowed, sewers that do not back up, and a town that actually functions. This is where you plant your flag. You take the train in. You buy your brick and plaster fortress in cash. You lock the door, and you stop caring about what the stock market does on Tuesday. You have a roof, you have a perimeter, and you have a life that is entirely your own.